Hey guys, welcome to this week's edition of Chewing the Fat. This week I'm catching up with Maja, who I've known for a few years now and recently found out she's been on the protocol. So I thought I'd catch up and see how she's going. How are you going, Maja?
Going fabulous.
This is good. You're looking fabulous.
Really great to talk to you.
Yeah, it is. It's been a
We're
while.
both thinner than the last time we saw each other.
That's a good thing. Yes.
What's happening to us?
What's happening to us? Yeah. I'm taking up less of the camera with my head these days. Well, let's start. What had you start on protocol? What was the defining point where you went, that's it, I've got to do something?
So I have, over the years, I've been overweight or obese most of my adult life. And over the years, I've been on many diets. And most of the time I found personally, if I stick to them, they work. And if I muck around, they don't. And earlier this year, I thought, okay, I really packed it on because I've kind of, with my weight, I've been, I lose a bit and then I relax and then it all comes back on, sometimes a bit more. And earlier this year, I was like, okay, that's it. I need to sort my health out. And I tried doing it on my own first.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when COVID hit. So I was at home all the time. And I just tried doing healthy diet, what I know to do, and I just kind of stayed the same weight, which I suppose I would have probably packed it on if I didn't at least do something. But for a couple of months, and I thought, okay, I really need to go outside, do something outside of what, obviously it's not working on my own. And the other thing I found is over the years, the older I get, the harder it's been to shift the weight. Right. When I was 21, all I had to do is cut a couple of things and then I would see results. And here I am, I turned 38 this year and I'm like, it's getting harder and harder to lose weight. And I was like, okay, I need to do something. And I'd had a couple of friends do the protocol. I've heard about it. So I went and I ran into a friend, chatted, asked a lot of questions. And I thought, okay, it's time. And it's time I do it. Like one of the things that really I liked about hearing about what protocol offers with a lot of the other diets don't is that there's a point at which you get trained to maintain the weight. And one of the promises, or one of the things I came across somewhere is that it's like the last diet I'll do because I will reset my metabolism, learn how to maintain my weight. And that's, even in the past where it hasn't been hard to lose it, it's been hard to keep the weight off. So for me, this came at a time and I was like, okay, really resolved for myself. It's time to take responsibility around my health and get healthy and do that for the rest of my life.
Cool. And so how's that been? How's it been?
Too long of an answer to what you asked.
That's fine. That's what we're looking for. The videos need to go more than 5 minutes.
It's actually been really good. I've had
on protocol. Was there anything hard, or did you find it easy to do? Like, what sort of things did you come across along the way?
First couple of weeks, it's just getting used to, cooking, even though I'm not doing some crazy cooking. I'm like cooking steaks most of the time and, stir frying a couple of veggies. Like it's not really, but I wasn't even doing that. I was eating like takeaway and things that I could just, I don't know, reheat or eat out of a can. I know it sounds bad. It is very bad. So I really had to get used to the system first couple of weeks, and also so first couple of weeks was a lot of adjusting. And since then, there's been times where it hasn't been easy, but it hasn't been hard. It's mostly been actually great. The times where I have had to deal with myself is, there's been some weeks where the result didn't show and I had to what is it? I had to kind of reassess what have I done and what could have affected that I didn't get the result I want. Yeah. And also learning to not get too messed up about the results as well, because this is it's not about the result. It's about a long-term transforming my health and my well-being for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually been a lot easier than I've been warned about.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys I've been coaching with Dean that are actually, one of the issues we've faced is actually getting them to eat enough. They're like, they skip parts of the protocol and they're like, oh, I just can't fit that in. It's like, okay. So, you definitely don't go hungry on the protocol. And, that's one of the things
No,
being on it I found as well.
and I definitely don't go hungry. And it's funny how many associations, like I've noticed for myself, there's been times where I missed something and I think to myself, like a food or whatever, for whatever reason. And I think to myself, oh, this is a good thing I'm eating less, because the whole society and everything we hear is like eating less is good.
Yeah.
So, and there's been times where, or I actually messaged Dean once because Dean is coaching me. And I said, oh, I'm not hungry. Like, should I just skip dinner? And he was like, no, this is the same as like, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat a cake.
Yeah. And that's one of the issues, is the thought process of, well, if I skip the snack at night or whatever, or if I miss lunch, it's going to be better because I'm actually eating less. And the other thing was, immediately once people start to feel more energized and they drop a few kilos, they instantly go to, I've got to start exercising. Have you found that as well, or?
Well, definitely there's been that thought process has been there, like, oh my God, I need to exercise? How much do I need to exercise? Like, do I need to, because I'm mostly walking when I go for exercise. It's mostly I go for a walk and then I, start like, do I need to increase what I'm doing? Like, is this walking enough? It definitely has been there. It's definitely been there.
Definitely imprinted on the psyche that you've just got to start training and pushing yourself and doing something hard, because it just seems too easy when weight's falling off, you're doing nothing. And like I've said on a lot of the other videos, I did the whole protocol in the middle of COVID, so I literally couldn't go anywhere and do much. I could train at home if I wanted to, but I just basically sat on my backside all day watching TV. And lost 23.5 kilos. So it's definitely not required.
Love it.
Okay, so what else? Now that you're losing the weight, is there anything else coming up for you that you didn't expect? Like, I know I get most people are only interested in losing the weight, and Dean says that every time, this isn't just a weight loss program. If you want to go do that, go and do something else. This isn't what we're doing. And we're starting to find a lot of people have things show up for them that they didn't expect to be there once they'd lost the weight. Have you had anything like that?
Well, I'm learning a lot and discovering a lot through the process. I don't know that anything's really shocked me as such. I probably have never experienced myself being so disciplined about something. You know how sometimes you don't even think you can do something and you do it and you prove yourself wrong. And I'm like, wow, I'm being so disciplined about this diet. I'm like, I could, and I'm like, there's all these other areas of my life that I could take on bring this level of, integrity and discipline to, that I'm discovering in the process. I'm discovering, well, I have so much energy. That's been really fantastic, that just I have energy to do stuff. And I think it's definitely like I feel great, and it's that helps because I'm in it for the long run, right? When I started, my goal was 41 kilos to lose, and I'm 24 down, 17 and a half to go, or something. Oh, I started 41.5 or something like that. And I think when I get closer to my goal weight, that's when things might get a little interesting, because I hadn't been that weight. I don't even, I've been close once 7 years ago, But my goal weight, I probably haven't been since I was, I don't know, 17 maybe. Like,
Right.
obviously, I don't know exactly, but probably not. And I'm expecting that there'll be all these thoughts and feelings coming. There's already stuff coming up for me. Like, I always thought of myself as a big girl, or a curvy person. And I always thought, even if I lose a little bit of weight and kind of I'll be healthier, but I'll always, like, my mind is programmed. I'm a big person. There's a lot of my family, we're big people, we love food, so I'm like, and I'm now starting to like have these thoughts like, well, what if I have to reprogram that? What, like, when I reach my goal, I'm like, will I be a big person? Maybe not.
Well, not physically. Not physically.
To reprogram that one, so I think there's definitely going to be some stuff. And the other thing is, like, even the goal weight I chose, so my goal weight is 80 kilos, to reach 80 kilos, but the health to reach healthy BMI range, I'd have to be 75 kilos according to my height. And when I first started, I said to Dean, like, for me, 80 kilos would be freaking incredible. Like, I don't know when was the last time I was 80 kilos. But I was like, but it's actually not within the healthy BMI range. So should I actually choose a different goal weight? And he said, no, if that's a big deal for you, you get there. And when you get there, then you work out, do you want to go another, whatever,
Yeah.
Are you happy where you're at? So, like, even just thinking, like, I might not even stop there. I don't even know, right? It's new territory, and it's exciting. It's a little bit confronting, and it's certainly, I'm getting a lot of compliments.
What's the confronting part?
I think the confronting part, when I reach my goal, and that kind of the confronting part will be that, reprogramming my mind, that, hold on, because when you're someone who's been overweight or obese most of your adult life, what's there is, I might lose some weight and then I'll put it back on. That's the predictable. That's what happened every other time that I've lost weight. And, life will happen, something will happen, and then I'll put on weight again. And then I'll have to, if I want to lose it, I'll have to work hard again. That's just so predictable. So I think rewiring my brain at that point, when I reach my target, or when I settle at a weight that's healthy and that I'm comfortable, I think reprogramming my brain to go, oh no, there's no turning back in terms of it's going to go to predictable way.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of things on this protocol that will have that be in effect as well. I've lost weight before, but didn't have the same physical impact once that the metabolic reprogramming, that recalibration of your metabolism and your endocrine system, the impact that certain foods then have on your body, and you notice them straight away. That was, I'd probably been close to this thing in the last, 10 years, but I still didn't have that noticeable difference of when I was coming out of phase 1 on the protocol into phase 2 and 3, having certain foods and then waking up the next day or, a few hours later thinking, wow, I can feel the effect of that food on me straight away. I feel puffy. I feel, my joints feel a bit stiffer than they were, or I'm not as clear and focused as I was the next morning. Never had that before by just losing weight. But once reprogrammed, you'll find, you'll wonder, how was this normal to me and I was unnoticeable to me before, where now it just stands out to me what those foods are doing bodily wise for me. It's really, it's a pretty interesting thing.
It's phenomenal. And actually, I mean, I'm looking forward to discovering that part. And that's going to be like quite unknown territory for me, I must say. Like what's been what's been really great is even when I've been on diets before, I've never eaten this many vegetables in my life, Trevor. I eat, and I've kind of looked at that list when I first started and tried a few different things, and I'm now starting to like quite enjoy it. And
Yeah.
I've played with like salad dressings, and then when I found the perfect salad dressing that I like, it was like magic,
Mm.
And I really enjoy my salad every day and vegetables. It's like
Yeah.
that's new for me.
Yeah.
It is new because I tell you what, before, if I had it my way, I would never eat vegetables ever,
Yeah.
except occasionally cucumber.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I would just, it was like I like fruit, but like what was normal for me, I can't even say that I don't like vegetables anymore because I've discovered I do like vegetables.
Yeah. A lot of people are the same. And it's really funny. It's great what you're saying though, is because I think the success or failure of this protocol for people is how much they resist or give into it. And, from the sounds of it, you're like me, you just gave into it fully and just said, all right, what have I got to do? And that's it. And then all these things start showing up, like how much you love, not all, but most of the vegetables you get to eat, how creative you get with your cooking and new things you come up with to eat. The people I find that resist it are looking for, I don't know how to cook stuff. Give me some recipes I can cook. I don't like this vegetable or that vegetable. Like they become barriers and make it difficult and then become reasons why they can't fulfill on the program.
Yeah.
Whereas just giving into it and saying, look, let's just do it and see what happens, the results just come automatically.
Yeah, they do, and that's why most of this program I've just been like, this is easy.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. This is great.
So good.
As I said, occasionally I have to deal with myself, and if you talk to Dean, he'll probably tell you, oh, she's not always,
Oh, who is? Who's always empowered and, smashing goals each and every day, 24/7?
But I tell you what, 90% of the time it's been super easy. And you know what? Like when I really look, I can eat like this for the rest of my life.
Easily. I got a mate, I was at his house the other day and he was making up a tuna salad for dinner before we went and did a gig. And he's just like, I love it. I've never eaten, I can't believe it. I'm just not going back to eating this stuff, other stuff. He's invested in the cooking and he's putting lemon and apple cider vinegar and salt and pepper over it and he's got all the grinders and stuff, putting stuff over. Well, you could be doing kitchen shows, mate. What are you doing? He's like, I love it. Never going back. And his wife said, I've never seen him this clear and happy because he, deals with depression and some other stuff as well. And she goes, I've just never seen him like this. He's just been the happiest he's been, the clearest he's been, the most focused in doing stuff that he's been that I've ever seen him. And it was just fantastic.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. It really is. And, I've also noticed it's like discovering all this that, I enjoy vegetables and I'm enjoying cooking. And even though I cook literally not many things, the variety isn't greatest, but I love it. It has taken me 2 months, but I perfected how I like my steak.
Yeah.
And I bought like new kitchen stuff, new kitchenware. It's really great to make steak. Getting a bit invested in the kitchen stuff. My mum's probably going to be happy about that one. She's been trying to teach me for years how to cook. I just wasn't interested before. It's great. But even like, as you're talking about your friend and what he's dealing with his health, I'm looking at how much my, getting responsible around other areas of my health, getting tests regular and like blood tests and whatever checkups and make sure, and like something comes up, okay, let's have a look. What is that? And it's really funny. There's this part of me, there's this psychological, fatness or the size was like this security blanket. Because I've had a couple of other health things come up in the last couple of months where I had to go get things tested and checked up and everything's fine. But I kind of thought to myself, hold on a second. I always thought because I'm big, I might have other health issues. And I'm now confronting, well, I'm a human being and, I'm not invincible. So there's health things that are going to come up, and I no longer have this security blanket called it's because I eat badly. If only I ate well, my health will be perfect, or this would be great. I think as I'm going through the journey, it has me also deal with other things. And I think there'll be probably more things to deal with as I kind of look. There's no that security blanket. There's no that only if I ate well, I wouldn't have to get tested for this lymph thing, that it's like, it's like, it is what it is. And there's all these areas of our health to be responsible for. And the other thing is, it's all natural as well. That, when you're young, you think you're invincible, and then the older you get, you discover there's these body parts, and they work or they don't work, or you need to take care of them so they do work for a long time.
What's interesting is I was talking to Dean about this today, about once people lose the weight and then what comes up for them and what they deal with. And there was someone else I was speaking to in a completely different field not long ago, and it was about pain relief, and it was a treatment for dealing with like injuries or recurring pain in wherever it is, in the back, on the shoulders or whatever, and how then that becomes like a justification that life can't be the way they want it to be. And he was finding that when people started to get better finally, like they've tried everything else in the world, and you don't really know how well they went through it or how well they did the procedures or whatever, but they say they've gone through everything they possibly could, and this is their last ditch effort. And they'll see this guy use the equipment and stuff that he's got and start getting better. Now, he said some of them will just quit because they've never had to deal with, not never, but for so long, they've never had to deal with that. That's not an issue for me now. That's not holding me back. And if that's not holding me back, there's nothing holding me back. And now I've got to be responsible for getting out there and doing stuff, and living my life. To the point where some people were actually committing suicide once they got better.
Wow.
Yeah, with like they'd have a major illness or injury or whatever that they never thought they'd come back from. That was their crutch in society, their excuse for why my life's the way it is.
Wow.
When it's not reality. You see people, become quadriplegics or whatever, and then go on to win Olympic medals because they're just like, this isn't going to beat me. I'm going to go do what I need to do. But once they'd solved those health problems, now there's no excuse left. Now they've got to deal with themselves. There's nothing else in the way, and they just couldn't deal with that, which was a really interesting conversation. And then it got us onto the whole weight loss thing of people that have been overweight or obese for most of their lives are going to be in a similar situation where they're like, wow, that's not there for me anymore. Now what? Which I think is where I know is on this protocol, the coaching definitely comes into its own, really, where it's not just about, I've lost the weight, tell me what, or I want to lose weight, tell me what to do, and then you go and do it. What then?
Yeah, no, it's exactly right. And I think it is very much like way more than just losing the weight, in that it is a big journey and life experience. And totally, I get all the people you're talking about who've now dealt with their illness and then they're lost because that's that kind of excuse or security blanket that's been there their whole life. It
became their life. That's what their focus on was in life.
I get it. I can completely see it just from being someone. I mean, I'm not defined by my body and my size, but at the same time, my size has been there my whole adult life. So I can completely see how much it would take a lot of courage and willingness to deal with the other stuff that comes up that one doesn't expect. And I'm sure there's going to be things that come up for me, another 17 kilos or so, that I'll be, dealing with. And I found the coaching really great in terms of, you could write this protocol down and someone could just read it and follow it. But questions come up for me all the time. And I'll write it down and I'll save them. Or if it's pressing issue, I'll message Dean. Or, when I first went on a diet, he said to me, "Oh, people sometimes send their menus within a restaurant." I'm like, "Great, that's what I'm going to do." So first few times I went out to a lunch or dinner, I would send him a picture of the menu, go, "What can I have on here?" And he'd send back what I can have. I'm like, "Great." And then I worked it out eventually. So I didn't have to bother the guy later. But I didn't stop having social life when I started the protocol.
Yeah.
I just customize it. Like I'll go into a restaurant, I'm like, "Okay, can you make me a salad? These are the things, do you have any of these things?" And I'll like start listing all these things and they're like, "We got this. I'm like, "Yeah, that will do. Make me a salad."
Yeah. That's great, because one of the things I've spoken to with a couple of the people we coach is how they collapse being sociable and hosting people with having to eat certain foods. Like, I'm having people over, can I eat for one day? Can we just eat whatever we want for one day, just to be social with these people? And I'm like, what have the two got in common together? If you're at my place and I'm eating this and you're eating that, or we're all eating the same thing and it may be not what you have expected, what's that got to do with me being social and having a great night? Or going to a party? What has drinking and eating whatever I like got to do with enjoying and being the life of the party? That's another thing that's great about it. You've got to discover new ways of being that work in those situations versus just going along for the ride.
That's so great you say that. I've gone to parties where I haven't really had a conversation with a host that I'm on a diet, and I just chuck my veggies and my shake, whatever, in my bag.
Yeah.
I get there, I suss up what's available, and I'm like, well, if there's stuff there that I can have, I'll just have their stuff, and if there isn't sufficient stuff, I'll pull out my goods, and I'll be like, "I hope you don't mind, I brought my own capsicum."
Your cooking sucks. I'm sorry. I can't eat your crap anymore.
I just customize it, like literally. And it has not stopped me. And I mean, some friends, like I went to a friend's for lunch on Saturday and she was like, "Tell me exactly, can you eat fish?" Like, and I was like, "Oh my God, you really don't have to worry about me that much." And then I went and she was like, no, I really want it. Like, she's really big on hospitality.
Yeah.
Well, if you really want. So I told her, and then she prepared a special meal for me. And then I get there and I found all these other meals, all these other things just prepared for everyone else. I was like, I actually could have eaten this.
Yeah.
And she's like,
yeah,
it's so amazing. And she was like, "You know what? The fish I cooked for you, I can use it for a salad. I would prefer if you have this," which was like, a traditional meal. And I was like, "Okay, if that's what you prefer, I'm easy." But it really hasn't stopped me from being social, participating in social things. And at times, there's been times when I went somewhere and I expected there'd be stuff I can eat and there wasn't. And I'm like, "Okay, well, I better go home and eat some vegetables after this."
Yeah.
Or, just literally be responsible for it. And the other thing I find that really makes a difference is, even if I go off or end up forgetting something or missing something, that I stay in communication with my coach. And, there are times when he'll text back and I'll be like, "Okay, do I need to do this to be responsible for this?" And he'll be like, "No," or "Yes," or "Do that." Like a couple of months ago, I got really sick. I got some sort of a flu virus kind of thing. I was like in bed for a week with temperature, and it wasn't corona. I got tested, obviously. But I was in bed for like 8 days, which has not happened to me for years. And I could not eat for the life of me. And basically, Dean said, "Have the shake," like he gave me something. And, you know what? Even though I couldn't stomach food, those protein shakes saved me because I could just cull it and it would stay. And I kept that up. Like I literally followed. I was in communication, followed what he said. He said, if you can't eat, do this to be responsible for it. And I did. And I think if I hadn't had that support and coaching, and if I didn't have those protein shakes, I probably would have just not eaten for a week.
Yeah.
It probably would have had, a really negative impact on my body. I don't even know, because I could not stomach anything or like actually, chew anything. So that's been really amazing.
Yeah.
The coaching and the kind of questions and curveballs I throw at my coach. And
having about the social side of it though, because that's why Dean has people be in communication with the people around them about what they're doing and why, and enroll them in the whole process. Because as you just pointed out, people are generally really generous. They want to support you when they know it's there, versus just showing up and going, nah, I can't eat that. And then you're in a half hour an explanation of what you're doing, why. You've just taken over the whole gathering with your, it's all about me and what I need right now. Whereas if you're in communication with the people, have them be involved, they'll do anything they can to help you most of the time. I've got some mates that will try and go completely opposite just to be assholes, but in fun, just to be assholes.
Like an Aussie thing. Is that an Aussie thing, Trevor? Is that an Aussie thing?
Pretty much. That's how you show love in Australia, is just be the biggest asshole you can to your mates and laugh about it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But no, you're right. And that's definitely something when I first started that Dean said to me, tell your people, share what you're up to. And I have been really pleasantly surprised how supportive people have been. And the people have come back to me who I've shared with and gone, oh, actually, you inspired me to go and get a blood test. Because I've been avoiding it for a while. I was like, really? Yeah. I did? Oh, that's amazing. Great, good on you.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So it has been amazing.
Excellent. So what's next? Where about, you got another 17 kilos, did you say, to go?
Yeah, 17 kilos to go.
And what's that going to make available for you? What's that going to make available for you once that's gone? And even now, what's becoming available to you now that wasn't possible before?
Well, what's available to me now is I can fit into my old clothes and I look great. And another 17 kilos. Well, what it's going to make available is like shopping, because guess what? I'll get to a size where I don't have old clothes that I'll, to wear.
Yeah.
There'll be some fun shopping involved. The other thing that is already made available is just like the ease of movement. And like I couldn't sit cross-legged on the floor comfortably and like read or do anything for a long time. Yeah, right. Now I sit cross-legged for hours. I love it.
Yeah.
I know it's like
my legs go to sleep.
I know it's a little thing, but I love it. It's great. It really is.
I think that's one of the best parts of the protocol, are all the little tiny things that are probably insignificant to most people, but personally, you just love those little things that become available.
Totally. So, and then the rest is like, I don't even know. I'm gonna discover it.
Yeah.
It's. I think there's like some people are saying to me now, are like, oh, you could stop now. You look great now, because they've seen a big change. 24 kilos is a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be an interesting, like having lots of people with their opinions, or lose a bit more. No, don't. No, you're going to lose too much. That's going to be interesting, because at the end of the day, it's my journey, and I've got to discover, where that reach my goal and how to find that balance, and like is that where I'm going to be, or
yeah.
Find my own.
It's funny how people wade in and tell you it's too much. You're looking too skinny, and like that was happening with me, and I was still 7 kilos off the healthy ranges for stuff. I'm just like, that's just opinion, and it's got nothing to do with reality of my health, because I've still got 7 kilos to be in the upper ranges of being healthy as far as the science goes. They're just not used to seeing you like that. And as you say, a massive change like that, they have to deal and confront themselves as well. For a lot of people, it's like, wow, I'm used to being this person in this relationship, and now I'm not, because you've just lost 40 kilos. Wow.
Yeah, and that's probably challenging for them. And you're totally right. Like, a couple of my friends are comparing themselves. They're like, they were always way thinner than me, and it's like one of my friends is like, "Oh my God, you've nearly taken over. Like, what's going on?" I think people will around me might have to deal with their own self.
Well, they
And
are, but they won't. They'll say, you're too skinny now, you're looking too skinny. It's one of the things people, especially I think women more so, have dealt with. I've seen from the people Dean's been coaching, is once they start getting, that's enough. You're too skinny. Like, people take that on board. It's like, wow, do I look sick? Do I look, what's the go? But once people get used to seeing you like that, it never comes up again.
that's right.
Never comes up
Totally. I mean, I can see that, and it's great. It's great. It's fun. I'm looking forward to, and kind of like I'm projecting by when could I reach my goal weight approximately, because the loss has been fairly steady, but not always. And I'm like, wow, it's basically, for me, it's been a great journey. And I am so as excited today, just over halfway, as I was, when I started, and as I'm going to continue to be. Because at the end of the day, those moments where I get messed up by something like a result, oh, this is not what I was expecting. I think I just remembering it's really not, and it really hasn't been just about the looks for me from start.
Yeah.
It's a much bigger picture, and it's a long-term thing, whether it takes 6 months, or because I started in June about 4 months ago, whether it takes 6 months in total or 10 months, doesn't really matter. I've got another 60 years to live.
But where else have you lost that sort of weight in that amount of time? I saw not to make it a weight loss thing as such, because we've already covered that side of it, but I saw a Weight Watchers ad last night for most diet, like it was an advertising coup, like it was, here's how we promote it. Most dieters lose 4 kilos in the first 6 weeks. How long did it take you to lose 4 kilos? It's ridiculous.
Like 2.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It is. And I think it's what you were saying earlier is really great. I think it's important not to make it just about the weight loss.
Definitely not.
But that is a great result. And when I've seen like men, even on the protocol, on most diets, men have faster metabolism from what I understand, and on the protocol as well, guys, you lose weight faster than women. It's incredible. The results are incredible. And the trap is to get too messed up and focused on the results of the scales, because we're not our number. It's just a number, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But it is the results have been incredible. You're right. I mean, people are like, I shared with some people I don't know the other day, it's like, that I lost 24 kilos. I lost 24 kilos in 4 months, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, it's really not that big a deal. it hasn't been that.
It is that big a deal. It is that big a deal, because it's unheard of for people. It's just not possible in most people's minds,
No, it's great.
Cool.
You're right. It is important to acknowledge that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for catching up with me. Or good on you for taking it on. And it was great when Dean said, "Oh, do you know Maja?" And I said, "Yeah, I know Maja. Tell her she's lost this much in this amount of time." I just went, "Wow, that's awesome." I was really happy. So that's great. Good luck with the rest of it.
Thank you so much for the chat.
No worries. All right,
And
guys,
thank
that's it
you.
for this week. And we'll be back next week with maybe Dean. Maybe Dean will talk to one of his scientific advisors as well. We're going to get them up and running shortly. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the video and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Maja. See you guys.